I'm J.R. Church. Welcome to today's analysis of the news. Well, the swine flu has hit 1 million victims. And even though it's not in the news here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's going strong during wintertime in the Southern Hemisphere. Australia and other countries in the Southern Hemisphere are beginning to feel the effects of the swine flu. According to this news article, despite the declaration of worldwide pandemic by the World Health Organization, swine flu has faded into the background of most cable news cycles. Though its popularity as a lead story may have waned, the influenza bug has certainly not taken a holiday. Dr. Henry Neiman fears that swine flu may have mutated into a much more efficient and lethal strain. He cites 2 cases from Buffalo, New York as his evidence. He said on June 22, 2009, in his commentary, states the following, quote, Davis was an 8th grader at Harvey Austin School, 97 on Sycamore Street. News 4 talked to the 15-year-old's mother, Lucretia Belton. Matthew attended Harvey Austin School, 97. His mother said complications from swine flu, including pneumonia and MRSA. She said his kidneys were failing. He was kept alive by machines. A 9-year-old girl is also at Women and Children's Hospital with the swine flu. She's a 4th grader at Charles Drew Science Magnet School, 59 Museum Campus. The above comments describe 2 students of magnet schools in Buffalo, New York that are a mile apart. Both students were on life support yesterday, and the middle school student, 15, died after life support was withdrawn. The elementary school student remains on life support. The clustering of 2 critically ill students raises concerns about the emergence of a more lethal strain of the swine flu. Emergency room visits with influenza symptoms are on the decline, but there's no reason to relax. Public panic over the initial round of reporting has died down, so many people may not be as sensitive to symptoms. Also, summer is not a traditional flu season. Neiman believes that this fall could see a resurgence of infections and that those cases could well be the more virulent strain now brewing unnoticed in pockets of the world. Those pockets include Australia and other Southern Hemisphere regions who are now in fall and winter seasons. A Reuters report from yesterday quotes Georg Hacker, the head of the Robert Koch Institute for Infectious Diseases, as saying, quote, it is possible that the virus is mutated. In autumn, the mutated form could spread to the Northern Hemisphere and back to Germany. I guess that's where he lives. The Spanish flu began in the spring of 1918 as a relatively mild infectious agent. However, by fall, the virus had mutated into a deadly monster that eventually infected 1 out of 4 in the U.S. and 1 out of 5 globally, claiming the lives of as many as 20 million people in the span of just a few months. Some may think the pandemic is all about scaring people into taking immunization. Certainly that may be a part of it, but the pale rider of Revelation is saddled up, and he will ride whether you and I are ready for it or not. Revelation chapter 6, verse 7, when he had opened the 4th seal, I heard a voice of the 4th beast say, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given over him, over the 4th part of the earth, to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. Jesus said that in the last days, this is Matthew 24, that there would be pestilences, as well as wars, rumors of wars, nation rising against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and earthquakes in divers, King James Version, various places. This idea of pestilences or diseases seems so amazing to me, that this swine flu, this potential deadly swine flu, could be moving from 1 million to how many knows by fall? 10 million? 20 million? You know, I recall back right after, of course, I wasn't alive then, but I recall my relatives who died of this flu in 1918, 1919. It came right on the heels of World War I, and more people died of the flu than died in the World War. 20 million casualties, people dying, and there was no way to help them back then. We didn't have the kinds of medicines that we have today. In fact, penicillin was not discovered until World War II, late in World War II, around 1944. And so, as early as 1918, there was very little that medical science could do to help people. But can you imagine if we had a disease